Hi guys, welcome back to Hair Dry Treatment. An early one this morning. Me and Meg decided we'd try with a morning show. So let us know what you think about this kind of schedule, this time. Meg's been out for a run this morning, been on active, and I've just simply woke up late. So that shows the difference in our personalities. How you feeling this morning?
Tired, mate. Well, I've literally just come back from a run, so I was like up and at it this morning. But feeling quite reflective. Got reflection going on.
I'm glad you're feeling reflective because I'm sitting here today thinking I don't even know what I'm going to say about that game yesterday. I mean, obviously we went into it. We know this is the overhoped game because it's Twitter FC versus Twitter FC. Banter FC versus Banter FC, whatever you want to call it. But this game obviously gets blown up, doesn't it? There's a lot of build up to it on social media and whatnot. How did you feel after it, though, Meg? I mean, I tweeted simply one word: disappointed. That's the only word I could conjure up, and that probably that's not even a full scale summary of how I was feeling last night. But I was just gutted. A bit like after that Liverpool game when I felt they were there for the taking. I felt similar to that yesterday.
Yeah, when you said like Banter FC versus Banter FC, there was just like absolutely no banter yesterday. That's like it was dead. It was. I think it was just a game of missed opportunities for both teams. I think both teams will have sat there and thought we could have scored and won that game. It was if it's going to be a goal, it was only going to be a 1-0 game. Other than that, it was going to be a simple draw. But yeah, it was a bit disappointing. To be fair, it's been a bit of a disappointing week, isn't it? Really, 1 point out of 6 is not what you thought we would be sat here saying on a Sunday.
I've obviously got Southampton up next. Really tough game. They've been playing well. Obviously, they were hard done by yesterday against Villa as well. And with the VAR decisions, Conrad makes a really strong point. No room for racism. We are going to touch on that in today's show. I'm used to talking on an evening. Yeah, we're going to touch on that. Definitely no room for racism in football or in society at all. So we will be discussing that. Obviously, Rashford is the latest victim, I believe, for comment last night. And it's simply disgraceful, and it's not reflective of fans that do not represent us at all. There's just vile people who just say stuff for a reaction, and sadly there's people like that who exist in the world, and it's disgusting, quite frankly. But yeah, we will discuss that. Good morning to Doug. Hope you're all right, Doug. Hope you're doing well. Just this as easy as a Sunday morning. I get it, just a Palace fan. A player that actually I've been impressed by, to be fair. But yeah, back on yesterday's game, we had a few chances, to be fair, Meg, but you say so did Arsenal. Certain players not turning up again. I think that's what it boils down to. And we said the same against Sheffield. Like our key players just didn't turn up. And do you think that was the case yesterday?
Yeah, just that felt like, again, they've not hit the standards that they've set for themselves, and at times they've been amazing this season. And I think that when you, and not just like an odd show of like brilliance that they've performed, they've done it quite a few times, and they've done it consistently at times. And it's just kind of plateaued off. We haven't hit those kind of heights that we kind of have come to expect. So I think it was just about now. It's just about how we bring that back, because you can, that's 2 without a win, and that's not a long run at all. Let's not be silly about things, but it can become a long run, and especially when you talk about the fact that we've got Southampton next, and they're a good, well-drilled side. So we have got to find motivation, momentum to take us through that game, rather than just sit back like we had. I felt like we did at times against Arsenal. We didn't go and get them. I literally felt like we should have just gone out and got them.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I felt after that Liverpool game as well. I thought they were there for the taking, and we just didn't take enough risks. We weren't positive enough. We weren't confident enough. And that's how I felt again yesterday. And to be fair, you could sit and look at it like, we're disappointed to come out with a draw. That shows how far we've come, the fact that we're disappointed with a draw there. But let's be honest, that they were there for the taking. They had a weakened side. I saw Brandon saying that in the chat they had a weakened side. And we should have been taking advantage of that. And I just felt like we're too hesitant. We were a bit too safe. I can honestly say I didn't feel like too threatened by Arsenal. I think we defended really well. But it's going the other way. We just didn't bring enough to the table yesterday, Meg.
Yeah, I think the defence was important yesterday. Harry Maguire did an amazing block in the box. Wan-Bissaka, I thought, played brilliant as well. Yeah. And I felt even Fred, obviously he is a CDM, but he showed his defensive quality at times and was winning the ball higher up. But then it's what we did with the ball. And we created a few chances, and we created enough chances to create a goal and at least score.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the issue, that we weren't clinical when we had those chances, and you don't get many normally when you play against Arsenal. You know, it's always a tight game. I did feel, actually, especially the first half, it was back to those kind of 90s games. There's a few little challenges in there. I don't know, there's VAR now. You can't really get away with it as you could do in the 90s and in the early 2000s. But I did quite like seeing that little bite against Arsenal and Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon says Arteta out-coached Ollie. How did he out-coach him? You didn't win. You're talking like you won the room. He out-coached everybody. Like, it was literally a draw. But yeah, I think so. A lot of people saying about Donny van der Beek. Sorry, getting my words out. But I think I was hoping he came on yesterday. Felt like you said, we're giving the ball away too much. We just didn't have any fluency going forwards, and I feel like he would have kept the ball a bit more for us. It was just a bit, especially in that first half, it was a bit like both teams were just giving it to each other. Like, it was so frustrating. It was so scrappy at times.
It's like, you have a go, no, we have a go, you have a go. I mean, when McTominay, you could see signs of him. You knew that he wasn't going to continue. I did think, well, Van der Beek, would that not be a possibility? And then he threw Martial on, and I did think, fair play to him, because he's shown that he wants to go out and attack. He's not going to sit back on it. And I did like the fact that Pogba got brought back into the centre a little bit more. I do prefer him playing in a central role, but I don't know whether that McTominay it wasn't injury, was it? What do you want to call it? Upset stomach. Whether that was a key in terms of, I sat there and thought Donny van der Beek, and I don't know if anybody else was thinking Donny van der Beek would have come on at that point.
Yeah. But to be honest, I wasn't even angry at Martial coming on, because I felt like it was a positive move from Ollie. Like, he didn't make a defensive change. He went for it a little bit more with that change.
Yeah.
Into the middle. I saw a lot of people kicking off because of how Martial played that game, but actually with that change, I didn't feel negative with that. I thought, fair play, Ollie, you've gone for it a bit more. So I understood it. But I felt later on into the game, should he maybe have considered Donny on? But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Like, that's why I'm not a manager at the end of the day. But I just felt like Donny would have gave us a bit more control and would get the ball a lot more if he was on the pitch. George says Ollie's the definition of insanity. He does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. Would you agree with that, Meg?
Well, he made changes again, didn't he? So it's not. Is he doing the same thing? Because we haven't really seen a consistent starting 11. We've seen players come in and out of the team. We've seen rotation. So I'm not sure by what he's doing the same thing. By what you mean, George? By he's doing the same thing. So I feel like he is rotating it quite a bit. We're not seeing the same front three. We're not seeing the same three midfielders. Really, we're only seeing the same defence. And at times, the two centre-back partners have been changed. But, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
Is this Brandon or is it Ty? Mope, you're a disgrace. What is this? What? Red card. To be fair, Doug just asked a good question as well regarding some offs and bookings. What do you make of Lacazette backing into Maguire? Harry Kane does that all the time as well. For me, as a striker, I think that's something that you do quite a lot. You try and get your body in between the ball and the man, and it can be quite dangerous sometimes. As a defender, though, Meg, obviously you're predominantly the one who's jumping for that header. Like, it is risky, isn't it? Because you saw it happened to Pogba as well earlier in the game, that awkward landing.
Yeah, and I think from my point of view, as a defender and you've got the ball in the air, you're not really looking where the attacker is. Whereas I feel like if you're just going to go and jump and look at the ball and go for header, you've got no idea that he's going to like wipe you out almost. I think it's a dangerous act to be doing for both players. And I think the more you bypass it and you pass it to the side and there's no consequences, you'll see more of it like we're seeing now.
Yeah, and big up to Flawless in the chat. He said, let's keep it 100. Ollie is just not the guy. You know, we don't say that on this channel. We manager Flawless. But I agree tactically, yet again, you'd say that Ollie has been a bit naive. That's twice now where you feel like we could have gone for it a bit more.
Interesting with that, though, whilst that's on the screen, is that just after this week? Flawless, were you and Ollie not the guy kind of person before this week? Or is it just after this week? Because I admit it's been a disappointing week. But I don't know whether that's just a continued thing that Flawless has said.
Yeah, I agree. Because obviously over time, at the end of the day, we're giving Ollie time, and he's got to prove. I said ages ago, tactically, he's got to prove himself. Like, we've been a bit naive at times, and I still stand by that. But of course, like, my ideal situation is that it works out for him. Stephen said Shaw had a good game. I felt like, yeah, he did, and so did Wan-Bissaka. You mentioned Wan-Bissaka. I've been quite harsh on him the last few weeks, but I do think yesterday he had a really good game. And to be fair, fell to the wrong person at the back post, but he had a few chances.
He did. That header at the back post. I got fingers, toes, everything like crossed that he would connect perfectly for him. But honestly, there's a couple of times in that game with Wan-Bissaka that if you look, like, you can show clips of that game to defenders and say that's how you defend a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka will look at that ball and you can literally step over it, you can jiggle your legs around, you can do whatever, you can dance around the ball, but he don't care. He literally focuses on the prize, on the ball, and it gets the one-on-ones. I feel like he's not underrated because we talk about his defensive qualities a lot, but he is a masterclass in a one-on-one defending.
He is, to be fair.
I just don't know how he does it.
Inspector Gadget, that's what I was saying. Them extendable legs, it just gets him out of trouble all the time. George says, but all these big games, these 0-0 draws are on Ollie, and you'd have to say yes, because, like I say, I feel like at times we're a bit too negative, a bit too defensive. We need to go for it a little bit more. But I do feel that Martial change yesterday, like I say, was a positive change. So is that on Ollie or is that on the players for not taking the risks? Not our main players not turning up, for example. Yet again, we've said a few occasions there where our big players don't turn up and then we're struggling because we need a magic moment from one of these players. We know that. And when these players don't perform, then we struggle, don't we, Meg? And I think yesterday was one of them. Like I say, we had chances. Arsenal had chances as well. We had chances. We could have quite easily scraped another 1-0 win there. But it's the same pattern. It's the way that we are playing. We're not creating bunches of chances. And when we are creating them, we're not being clinical. We're getting a bit lucky at the other end. You can't simply keep doing that, can you, Meg? It's got to be a time when we've got to be more ruthless.
Yeah, and I think we've got to come together as a collective rather than just individual brilliant moments. So, for instance, that Cavani miss, we can't rely on Cavani finishing one opportunity. Yeah. Or Pogba springing a goal from outside of the box, or a Bruno free kick. We've got to be able to come together and create more opportunities and chances to be able to score. And I just think at the moment we have relied predominantly on, at times, moments of individual brilliantness.
Yeah, exactly. And when that doesn't happen, it's like, where else is it coming from? Do you know what I mean? And like, I think in senses, like, we've had players hitting form at the right time, which Pogba's coming form, for example, and we've had these magic moments. But when Pogba doesn't turn up, or when Pogba's moved centrally and is a bit craded out, and when Bruno doesn't turn up, we're looking around like, who's going to find that spark? And I think that's what we're struggling with at the minute. I think we're too reliant on these individuals. Alex says, sorry I'm late, hope I haven't missed much. Still really frustrated about more drop points last night. In my opinion, the title is now Man City's to lose. I think all United fans would openly admit that. I think we were top of the league, but none of us genuinely believe that, we're going to win the league. But it's nice to be up there and thereabouts, isn't it? It's been so long since we've been in a challenge, and it's nice to be up there. And of course, you want to stay up there for as long as possible. And I think the frustrating thing is when you do get the hard work and you get up there, it's the manner at which we drop in these silly points. Because we haven't been ruthless, we haven't been confident, and we haven't took enough risks, Meg. I think that's what it is. We need to be more confident.
It is, and I think if we're going to say that this is Man City's to lose, well, we've still got to be in contention. There's no point just declaring it now and saying, well, it's Man City's. But, start of February tomorrow, that's still plenty of games and there's still plenty of opportunity. We've still got to ensure, because it's so tight and it's such a topsy-turvy season, like anyone's beating anyone, that we're in the top four because of it being so tight. You've got to play teams in and around you. You don't want to be going into these games low on confidence, on a run of bad results, and then trying to scramble a few points here and there off them. We need to be going in with confidence off the back of good performances, hopefully on a good run. It's not always about confidence and good performances. If you're getting 3 points every single game, you're still getting 3 points regardless of a good performance. And I think that run, we kind of need to build it back up again when we come to some fixtures further on in the season.
Yeah, I think if you look at it though, If we were to beat Sheffield and then got that draw at Arsenal, things would be looking totally different right now. But I think because we dropped those points against Sheffield, that's why this Arsenal result feels so crap. Because, like you say, it's 1 point in 6, whereas it could have been so different. I think if you'd have won at Sheffield, you'd say this has been a valuable point, and it might still be a valuable point. Let's point that out. It's not the end of the world, but it's just not ideal, of course. Isn't it? But if that result,
I'm laughing very quickly before it disappears. Twisted put, United's problem is they sprinted too hard at the start of a marathon. Let me tell you, that was me this morning on my run. I didn't run a marathon, but my first kilometre, that's my issue.
yeah, I'll get that feeling 100%. No, we were top of the league, and of course, a lot of us got excited. Of course, we did, because it's been so long that we've been there. But realistically, of course, you always want to win the title. But in Ollie's head and the club's head, top 4 will always be the priority. Someone just said, I think Ollie's going for top 4. Of course he is. But why not go for the title when you're there or thereabouts? And it's just the points against the lesser teams, and that's no disrespect to Sheffield. But quite frankly, it was top of the league against bottom of the league, and we needed to put down a marker. And I think that's the points that we'll regret more so than the Arsenal one. But for all the sides, Ollie's man management is good, and he's improved the squad, but we rely on individual brilliance to win games, and we have ballers. It's true though, isn't it, Meg? I mentioned Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. We do rely on these individuals, and when they're not up to it, or if they're being cut out of the game, we need someone else to step up to the plate, don't we?
Yeah, and I also feel that's probably why they get a lot of slack. And not slack, when they get sorry, they're like the scapegoat.
Yeah.
We've seen the Pogba abuse before, and I feel like because we rely on these players, and if they don't have an A-star game, then it's their fault. And it's like we need to be a squad. It's not just the 11 that start, it's the subs that come on, the management, the coaching staff. As a collective, we need to come together rather than just rely on moments.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is a good point by Alex. We have to start winning games and hope that Man City start dropping points. I have no doubt that teams will still drop points this season.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about it. Man City, they're starting to hit form at the right time, but there's been some mad results this season. De Bruyne is out. I have no doubt that no game in the Premier League is an easy game. There's certain teams who are fighting to stay up. Sheffield made it tough for them yesterday. Yes, City obviously won, but I've no doubt they're going to drop points at some point. And like you say, it's about us just looking after ourselves. But it's all right if City drop points. As long as we're going to keep dropping points to the likes of Sheffield, then if we go and lose to Southampton, it's pointless us even looking at City. We need to focus on ourselves. And like I say, we need to get over this barrier of against the lesser teams of just not taking enough risks and just going for it because we've been overly cautious. And I think that's what it boils down to. See what Doug says. Put it into context, City have Burnley, Liverpool away, Spurs and Arsenal at home. That's what I mean. Like, that's a tough run. Liverpool have got Brighton, City, Leicester, Leipzig, Everton. Tough runs for both teams. And I just feel like, yes, it's disappointing that we didn't win yesterday, but like I say, it's not the end of the world, is it? It could be a lot worse. And to be fair, it's the result midweek that still pisses me off more than that one yesterday.
Yeah, when you look back in the season, I think we said this about the Chelsea result when we drew with them. And I'll probably look back at this result, and they're the ones that you say, okay, we still got a point out of them. But then you're going to look at the Sheffield result, and that's going to be the one where you think we lost three points. We didn't get anything out of that game.
Yeah,
nothing. And then back at the start of the season against Crystal Palace, they're the games that you're going to look back at and think they're the ones that cost you however many places in the table, whether that's the top place, whether that's second and we've dropped down to third, who knows, by the end of the season. But those are the ones. Whereas you look back at an Arsenal and a Chelsea and think, okay, we got 0-0. We didn't score, but we didn't concede either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's where City have got the balance. They are scoring, but obviously they're not conceding, as George just said in the chat. But I still believe they will drop points. I genuinely do believe they will drop points. And also the same things, hopefully, that Man City can slip up. I completely agree. And he says, I don't want to give them credit, but City are still the benchmark. They play as a team, great football, and don't rely on one or two players like we do and have a winning mentality. I completely agree with that. And obviously a lot of people are like saying about Pep Guardiola and whatnot, but I completely agree with that. I think as a complete team, you'd have to say City are that benchmark, aren't they, Megan? Yes, we're in a total race with them, and I agree we need to start competing them, but I don't think we need to be looking at teams around us. I think we need to be focusing on ourselves, because if we keep dropping those silly points, then even top 4 is going to be in doubt for us. So we need to try and fix up and be more ruthless in front of goal. But in terms of yesterday's performance, I mean, was there any players that stood out in particular for you, Meg? Someone mentioned in the chat, I don't know who it was, so I apologise for that. They felt Paul Pogba played better when he was out wide, and he kind of drifted out the game when he was centrally. I did think he started well, to be fair, out wide, Meg.
Yeah, I think he had a good first half in general, even when he got moved. He's just one of them players that I've said it time and time again. It makes the game look so easy at times. The way that he shifts the ball, the way that he just can keep hold of a ball. He gets it. Players come in and he just puts his body in between him and the player and the ball. Just an incredible talent. But like I said, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka had a really good game. Fred first half nicking the ball, especially at one point. Arsenal started to brighten, but Manchester United kind of came into a little bit, and it was Fred pushing us higher. We weren't sat back, and I feel like when we do play certain CDMs, we tend to we're deeper, so we're winning the ball further back and then having to try and attack more. Fred was nicking it in their own half, so he pushes us up a little bit more, and I think that's the difference when you've got a player like Fred in that middle.
Yeah, I thought Fred had a decent game yesterday, to be fair. I think it was much more the front three. I mean, one chance in particular I've seen circulating on social media, and that's the Rashford one at the back post when he tried to cut in. And Leno did really well. I think he deserves credit for that. But Meg, surely, I mean, I'm a massive Rashford fan, but he's got to hit that first time, hasn't he?
I do think if he hits it first time, he's not got 100% chance of scoring.
Yeah.
Because I think the three players on the line are positioned really well. When he cut it back, if Leno doesn't move, then it's a goal because he takes one of the front post player out of the game. But Leno did it superbly well to actually come literally all out to the ball. There was no way of him shooting after that. If he hit it first time, who knows where it had gone?
Exactly.
Back on the net.
I think that's that confidence thing again. I don't know. It's like we're almost trying to score a perfect goal. Just like put your foot through it and go for it. Obviously, like I said, Wan-Bissaka had a few chances yesterday as well. The Cavani one, when the ball was just behind him and he almost tried to drag it back, when Martial probably was in a better position. Like, it was just one of them days, wasn't it, in front of goal? Like, it just felt like it wasn't going to go in yesterday.
Yeah, my husband actually said to me this morning, we could probably still be playing now if it was golden goal. But neither team wanted to really finish the game.
Yeah, I agree. Doug says the funniest moments was David Luiz celebrating the free kick. That didn't make me laugh, to be fair.
He celebrated another one as well, I think. Just like a defensive clearance. He was like, yes!
Bless them. They ain't got much to celebrate, Arsenal fans.
Celebrate that it didn't go in.
Yeah, I've seen Brandon celebrating the draw in the chat like Klopp against West Brom. He's going to get a new banner on Twitter. It's going to be the player stood in the line celebrating the draw. No, I think it's just a frustrating game. And I remember on my preview with Pippa just before, and I made a little joke just before we finished, and we were talking about score predictions and whatnot. A lot of big predictions in the chat. And I said, you watch it being 0-0 draw, and then we both went, oh no, please no. And we both didn't fully think it was going to happen, and obviously it did happen. But Southampton, obviously Tuesday. Southampton will be feeling rattled after that yesterday. They were unlucky to have that goal disallowed. I saw you tweeted about it. So unlucky.
Absolutely farcical. Ridiculous. Yeah. Farcical. That's what you should say, not farcical.
Farcical, yeah. I like what you did there. But
I'm on it on Sunday morning.
Ings is obviously a threat. We've got Che Adams, Diallo in midfield. I think he looks really talented. The young lad that they've got playing in midfield now. Southampton, last time around, Cavani came to our rescue. I remember us going live and saying Cavani saved the day. Are we hoping that Cavani starts again and we get the job done? Because Southampton's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, they're going to be, or they'll be up for it after what happened yesterday. Because I just think, I don't understand how it's got to the point where we're checking from someone's butt to someone's arm sleeve about whether they're offside. I'm laughing because I just think, what is going on? But yeah, they'll definitely be up for it, and I feel like we need to go and put a shift in. Whether we get a good performance or not, it's got to be 3 points.
I agree. I think, in particular on Tuesday, the result is more important than the performance, isn't it? Yeah. I'll take one of these ones where we defended and we scrape a 1-0. I'll take that against Southampton because I think that the minute, like you say, it's been a pretty poor week and we need to bounce back sooner rather than later. And I think that the result is more important, definitely. Twisty said James Wood post show pending. Please do not concede any. We said it last time. We'll say it again. Please do not concede any free kicks in and around the box because we know what he can do to us. But going into that game, like you say, we've got to go for it. We've got to win. Is there any players that played yesterday that you think nailed down definitely keep their spot? I mean, you've already mentioned the defence pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think depending on Lindelof's injury and whether, because I know that he's not struggling playing 2 games a week, but he's playing through the pain at the moment, from what I've heard. So whether we see a change within the centre back partnership, but other than that, I think the defence is pretty much sorted, nailed on.
Yeah.
And then whether he rotates again, because it's more likely the midfield and the attacking trio that get changed.
Yeah.
You can never tell what's going to happen.
I think it depends on McTominay's stomach. KG made me saying that McTominay's pregnant, and that made me laugh. But yeah, obviously it depends on how he is as to whether, because if he doesn't, then I personally would probably start Pogba in there with Fred against Southampton. I probably would go for that and then play Bruno just in front of it. So it'd be basically how he changed after McTominay went off. Like, that's probably how I'd start the game. But I've got to be honest and say Greenwood, when he came on yesterday, I would not be opposed to him starting because I thought he looked really sharp when he came on. He offered us something different on that right side.
Yeah, and I think that's why we don't get this consistent 11, because I think players are coming on, and you've seen it before. Cavani's come on as a sub, and we're like, he needs to start the next game because he comes on and he's got something. He's a bit like, he just buzzes around. He's picking up goals. Greenwood then comes on doing exactly the same, and it's whoever, we've got to train in between these games. Whoever starts and whoever is in form.
Flawless said he'd like to see Greenwood start as a 9 against Southampton, straight down the middle. I would not be opposed to it. I think Cavani, for me, has to start purely because, like you say, he's the work rate from the front. 9 times out of 10, he finishes chances. I know he didn't yesterday, but like I said, it just felt one of them days, and you kind of feel like he's due a goal. But at the same time, like I've always said, I preferred Martial out wide. So it's not Rashford. You'd say he's in performing at the minute. Rashford was poor again yesterday, I thought. So why not try Greenwood? Like I would not be opposed to Greenwood starting.
Do you know I have seen more recently, though, with our front three, is that they're not contained to their own starting position. So previously we've seen it's been Rashford on the left, Martial in the middle, Greenwood on the right, and that they stuck like that. But I feel like recently, during the game, you just kind of you might see Cavani go out wide, and the players are swapping positions like they know that they need to.
Yeah.
Cavani moves outside, you see Greenwood come inside. And that's just done naturally, which I don't think we've seen enough of previous to Cavani being in the United team.
Yeah, we haven't looked fluid, have we? And I think that's what we need. We need something more fluid going forward. Flawless, thank you for that. It's a very good show as always. We appreciate it. Guys, please do hit the like button. If you are new, hit that sub button as well. And of course, keep asking any questions in the chat. We're getting through as many as we can. George says we need to create proper width. Yeah, I do feel like not having a natural winger does hold us back. Like I feel like going forwards, we need to get wider, especially against teams who sit in. We need to be able to stretch the pitch a bit more, and we've got players who naturally want to drift inside. I think with Rashford and Greenwood, they naturally want to drift inside. So I do think that not having a natural winger definitely holds us back. But we've got a young winger in Diallo, Meg, who's just scored a double on his debut for the under-23s. I don't want to get sucked into the hype because we both sat here and openly said we don't know much about him, and of course we're hoping that he lives up to the expectations. We've heard good things about him. But it was an impressive debut yesterday, Meg.
Dream debut from what I've seen and some of the goals. Just a whole round performance, by the way. That team winning 6-3 against Liverpool. But yeah, I think he will be introduced at some point. But he's only just arrived. He's still young, probably just getting his feet on the ground. So being in the under-23s to start with, why not? And also, like the way that we are at the moment, for such a young player to come into that team, you don't want all that pressure put on him to be like, right, we've seen you do this, now go into the main team, into the first team, and do exactly what you've just done. Because at the moment it's not really happening and it's not clicking in the first team. Do you want someone of that age with no Premier League experience, still really young, only just arrived in Manchester United, to then have all this pressure put on them? Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think so. I'm Blue. Thank you so much for the contributions. I need to play Tellez more, Maguire gang. In terms of delivery into the boxes, yeah, I agree with Cavani in the middle. I think Tellez whipping the ball in is definitely dangerous. But Luke Shaw at the moment, you've got to have to say, has been in the form of his life and he fully deserves that left back spot. But Tellez is not a bad player to come in, isn't it? When we need that rotation, like he's not a bad player to come and fill in. And I do want to see more of Tellez, but I think right now you'd have to say Luke Shaw is more than worthy of his place. Would you agree with that, Meg?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we still will see Tellez during the season. I'm not writing him off at all. But I just think Luke Shaw's kind of took upon himself this left back role at the moment, playing superbly.
Yeah, and Twisty said no pressure at all. Young players are hungry. Exactly, you want that fear. That was like when Greenwood first stepped up to the first team, Rashford first stepped up to the first team. That fearlessness, just going for it. And I think we need that at the minute because we look a bit cautious, a bit overly cautious at times. I just want somebody to run at somebody and make something happen, and I just don't think we see that enough. Alex leads us nicely on to the next bit, Meg. To so-called Man United fans who think it's acceptable to racially abuse our players after a poor result, stop following our club. You are not welcome. Firstly, can I just say they are not fans? Quite frankly, they are not fans. Like, you do not just to throw abuse at our players in particular is one thing, but racial abuse is just another. And it's not acceptable in football, but it's not acceptable in society at all. And me and Meg feel really strongly about it. But like I say, they are not a reflection of fans. These are just sick people who say stuff to get a reaction, negative things to get a reaction, and they do not reflect us, do they, Meg? Quite simply, it's disgusting and it's unacceptable.
No, and I think this whole conversation, this whole, I think people questioned about the whole taking the knee before the game, and this is exactly why we're still doing it, because this conversation needs to be at the forefront of every, up until the government, across social media platforms. What are people going to do to tackle this virus of racial abuse in society? This isn't just football. This is everyday life for some people. And I think using football as a platform to put abuse to players because they didn't have a great game.
Yeah.
I just think it's beyond, I have no words for it. I think it's absolutely disgusting behaviour from certain individuals that don't reflect 90% of the majority of the public, not just football fans. And I think as football fans across Premier League, across the whole of the UK and beyond, that we should unite together.
Yeah.
And have some form of, there's got to be consequence, and they cannot continue to use social media platforms to abuse players, racially abuse players. I think it's got to be done. But I'm glad that it's back at the forefront of conversations, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think I saw Frank Kirby tweeted it. I've seen a few other people tweeting it as well. I think one way that we're going to overcome this, because no matter what, like George mentioned, unfortunately, there's always going to be sick people in the world, evil people in the world. But with regards to social media at the minute, it's far too easy for people just to type stuff at people and have no consequence to that. I think it's far too easy. And I do think that some form of ID should be presented when you're setting up social media pages, so at least people can be held accountable for what is being said. Because at the minute, there's no accountability. People are just saying stuff like say without a consequence, and it's disgusting. And something needs to be done to stop it. And I agree. I think fans need to unite, but I also think social media platforms as well need to install some kind of protection for people, because, like I say, people can just set up an account in a matter of seconds and throw abuse at innocent people who do not deserve it, and get away with it, and that's just not acceptable, is it? So I definitely think that something needs to be done. Someone needs to intervene. But yeah, we definitely stand strong, side by side with every player who obviously encounters racism, and everybody in society. We do not condone it, and me and Meg are completely against it, and we fully support saying no to racism in football and in society. And hopefully something is done sooner rather than later, Meg. And like you say, it's at the forefront again of conversations, but something needs to change, doesn't it?
Definitely. And I think hopefully we will see it, because I think it's almost dragged on so long now, and we've not seen anybody do anything about it, that I want to see, like I said, social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, the government come together and put a plan of action into place now.
I agree. Doug, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, Sophie and Meg, deadline down tomorrow. Can you see any business being done at United? Also, there's no truth to Saïs to Liverpool. Great show. Thank you so much, Doug, for that. Really appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well today, Doug. But Saïs to Liverpool, I never really thought, if I'm honest, there was any truth in that. Saïs, I think, is a decent player, but I don't quite think he's Liverpool player, to be honest with you. In terms of deadline day, I'm not expecting us to do any business, Meg, as much as I would like to. You?
No, I don't see us bringing anybody else in, to be honest. I've seen rumours and transfer rumours of the summer now. It's like this window's done already. But yeah, I don't really see anything going on for Manchester United.
Sadly, no. And George says, I reckon we will sign Mr. No One on deadline day. Sounds about right. Definitely. But if we do sign anybody, don't worry, me and Meg will jump on and do some content and discuss that. But like I said, I think it's unlikely. Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. It's fine to critique performances and criticise players' displays after matches, but when you target players with racist abuse, you cross the line and it is vile. Anonymous accounts must be stopped. Completely agree with that. I agree. I think ID should be given whenever you set up any account, so people can be held accountable for it. And I agree. I think there's a line, isn't there? You can discuss and analyse a game and talk about how someone's performed, but when you cross that line and start talking about personal things such as race, such as anything really personal, when it's not on the subject of football, that's the human beings at the end of the day, aren't they, Megan? I think people forget that, don't they?
Yeah, and I also want to touch on the fact that the word criticise, because I think a lot of people online will give their opinion and at times go above and beyond to be heard in terms of what they say, in terms of criticism. I feel like, and I hope this comes across, because I don't ever want to sit here and just say, player X is absolutely diabolical, he should never play for this club ever again, and just go off on a rant about them. Because let's face it, as I've played, I'm still playing football. So have you, Soph. Still have played and still playing. There are times in your career as a footballer that it just won't happen.
Yeah.
Now, why should a player be subject to absolutely vile abuse and criticism when it doesn't happen in one game, or it doesn't happen for a couple of games? And I just feel like, I hope this really comes across, because I don't ever want to sit here and go on a horrific verbal rant about a player. And, I would never racially abuse anybody anyway, but obviously people take it way too far and bring personal matters into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm here to just say I'm never going to say anything for some clout and just for views. Whatever I say, whether it's criticism or critiquing a performance, that it will never be said without me thinking I fully believe in that.
Yeah, that's what it is. We just give it honest. We're just fans at the end of the day. Don't claim to be anything else. We're just fans. We want to watch football. We want to try and get girls' voices heard in football a bit more. And that's literally what it is. But I agree. I think there's certain people out there who do say stuff to get a reaction. And like you say, if they're not being heard, it's almost like the worse thing to say, the more it gets heard. So, it kind of echoes that, doesn't it? But yeah, it's just sad times. And obviously, like you say, I hope that we come to some kind of solution sooner rather than later. Rahul, hello, hope you're doing well. He says, hello, hi, Soph and Meg, hope you're doing well. Could be better after yesterday's game, Rahul, we'll say that. But yeah, I'm good, thanks, and I know Meg's doing well too. Thank you for tuning in as always. But let's move on to the lady team. Let's look at a positive, Meg, after what happened yesterday. Obviously, Everton today, big game. Last week was a bit of a disappointment. So do you think the ladies will be raring to go?
Yeah, I think, I'm hoping that we'll see our new signing, new defender, Maria. Now, I'm going to try and pronounce the name. It's Theratistor or something. I can't, apologies because I'm not great at it. But she's a really strong defender. I think it'll secure us up a little bit. Hopefully, we'll be able to see what she's going to bring to the table for Manchester United. For those that want to watch, BT Sport 1, 2:30 for the game. But for Manchester United women, I think, again, it's a bit like Manchester United men. We're up there. Now, it's probably not, people never dreamed that we would win the league this season, but we're up there. And I think we've just got to keep ourselves there rather than sit down the table.
I agree, and I think a bit like the men's team, I think we need to bounce back. Everton, like I say, is a tough game, but I think the ladies should be feeling confident going into that. And like you said, new signing as well. Hopefully she features today. I'm definitely going to win it.
Another player that I wanted to mention, just because I want to wish her well, not that she'll ever see this, but Tobin Heath, absolute quality player, and unfortunately injured now, out for 10 to 12 weeks. So let's hope we get some rehab and rest and recovery, and she's back playing sooner rather than later, because she's just been a huge influence to our team this season. Huge.
Yeah, and hopefully, like Lauren James can step up to the plate, and other players like that. Leah Dalton obviously got a few goals this season already, playing really well this season. Hopefully, players like that can step up and obviously fill in for Heath, because Heath has made such a good start to the season, hasn't she? So that's gutting to hear that. But you girls get similar reactions from people when people say sexist things against the channel. You're improving things by proving them wrong. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. That is something, to be fair, Meg, that obviously we do have to contend with sexism as well in football. Being a female footballer as well, we get that a lot, don't we? But that's what our channel is about. It's about overcoming that and just showing that actually we can talk about football. And like I say, we don't try and be anything else. We're just simply fans talking to fans, and that's the way that we want to keep it.
Yeah, just mention the fact that Brandon's been in the chat. Now, Brandon's a friend anyway, but you know, one supports Arsenal, one supports Manchester United. But there's no, you know, you can. I'm happy to have conversations with people, even if we don't agree. There's times on here that people have said things about certain players, and our views aren't the same. But there's never ever any need to be personal against somebody.
That's what football's about. It's meant to be about different opinions, and I don't get the hate and the disgust when someone's opinion isn't the same as yours. I think that's why we love football, isn't it? Because everyone's opinion is different. Twisted said, "Ladies, is there rivalry in women's football?" Meg, is there rivalry in women's football?
Yeah. Even down to I'm playing fourth tier, and then there's some rivalry in our league, definitely. So, and it works its way up. There's definitely rivalry.
There is rivalry. Now, I've done the worst thing. I've played two. I played for Wolves and I played for West Brom. I literally went from one rival to the other and then back again. The biggest trial going. I'll admit that. But yeah, there is definitely rivalry. I mean, me and Meg went to the United ladies against City, didn't we? And the atmosphere is really good there. There is definitely rivalry. And I think it's growing stronger as well, isn't it? The more fans that get involved as well, obviously, I think the rivalry will grow. But yeah, women's football, it's growing. It's exciting. And I'll definitely say, guys, especially after yesterday, dull 0-0, watch the ladies game today, because I guarantee there will be some goals. And hopefully we can smile about a positive result.
So I'm laughing. Rahul's put who's the rougher player, Soph or Meg? I'll say Soph's worse at tackling, and then I have to be the one to get her out of the fight. So I'm back Soph for. I'm not a player to start the fight, but I'm a player to be involved. But Soph can't tackle. Soph gets herself more often.
Why do you think Paul Scholes is my idol? That's all I'm saying. Not tackle. Definitely not. But Meg, what's your prediction for the women's game today then?
I'm going to go 2-0 to Manchester United.
Yeah. I'm going to go 3-1. So still 2 goals in it, but I'm going to go 3-1. Alex says, sending my love and best wishes to Emma and Carl after announcing the end of their YouTube channel. Hopefully they'll appear on videos again soon. Emma has already messaged, guys, don't worry, she is still doing the Ladies in Red shows with us, and Nicole should be back soon as well. So we cannot wait to be reunited with them. We'll do another Ladies in Red. Maybe next week I'll drop a message and see, but yeah, definitely still involved with Ladies in Red. I'm looking forward to it, but I will send them your best wishes to them. Meg, what are you laughing at now?
Soph is Skulls, Meg is cute.
Yeah.
Who gets booked more, Sophie or Meg?
Yeah, I'd probably right, to be fair.
Although, to be fair, this season I've clocked up a few fines on the yellow cards. Few, what do they call it? Tactical fouls?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah, a few of them, unfortunately, this season.
Soph can skin DT, though. Yeah, that was funny, to be fair. That memory was class. 3-1 to United to Stephen. That's what I've said, 3-1. Any more questions in the chat, guys, before we head off? I don't want to miss anything out. Did you see when I posted the clip of Lee Judges being Voldemort?
Oh, I've not seen that.
Very funny. It's when he was like seething on AFTV, but it just looked really funny. There's no offense to Lee Judges. It was just a really made me laugh. Is Meg Wire tall enough for a centre back? Yeah. How tall are you, Meg? You're tall.
I'm tall. I'm 5'7".
5'7". Yeah, so she's tall enough. Nolan, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Great content here, watching from Singapore. Wow. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Someone said Rahul said it's a football channel. We don't know about soccer. Yeah. Viz said, wow, big up girls. United from India, now in Korea. Wow. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it, Viz, and I hope you're doing well. But yeah, Meg, I'm going to look forward to the women's game. Hopefully give us something to smile about. We'll obviously be back near the Southampton game, probably just after it, and hopefully discussing a win. That's what I'm going to say. Alex said, did you see the banter tie online? Yeah. Did you watch the United stand, the KG and Ty battle that they were doing?
With the headphones, because that comment.
I watched it live. Flex paused before he said, I can take it off. Like, it just made me laugh.
It is the pause for me. And then you just see Flex just let's finish the comment off.
Yeah, it was just like, Ty, where'd you get headphones from? They're really cool or something, wasn't it? And then he I got it from the pub. And then he's like, now you can take it off. Brutal. Says, hashtag Maguire gang best centre back. Thank you so much for the contribution as well.
Thank you.
Hashtag Maguire.
I wish I could be back playing at the moment. Obviously, everything's called off. So we're just keeping things ticking over. Hence the run this morning.
Yeah. Jay, of course, we know soccer in America. We totally understand it. Rahul's just bantering. Yeah, you know what? I went to watch Orlando in the MLS, and the atmosphere was crazy. Got an Orlando shirt and everything as well. They're my MLS team, definitely, because I love Florida. Yeah, Orlando with a little purple kit. Nanny's there now, isn't he, as well, which is mad. And then Niles asked who would get more goals between me and you. I'm going to say you, because Meg off set pieces, bullet headers. Down from Meg on set pieces, and 9 times out of 10 she scores. So, yeah, Meg more goals, definitely. I think I'll tell more the assister on Meg.
Yeah, you can't score and make them, can you, Soph?
No.
That's what it is.
I know. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, we've done a bit of an earlier one today, but appreciate you guys taking the time out to come and chat with us about the game yesterday, and obviously look forward to the United game, ladies game today, and obviously Southampton on Tuesday. We will be back around the Southampton game with more content, but until then, guys, stay positive, keep smiling, drop a like on the video, obviously hit the sub if you haven't already. Make sure you follow Meg's socials that are on the screen there as well. And thank you, Meg, for coming on again.
Thanks for having me on. I'm laughing, that last comment from Alex Marmon, who would swear most on the pitch. I feel like I'm just going to let you decide that.
Meg.
I didn't want to say it. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for all your comments. Are you calling one of us a swan and one of us a flamingo, or is that just a general question?
I'm more the swan.
I was going to say, mate, the swans in England and the geese in England, when you get a bit of bread, they chase you like there's no tomorrow. They'd be nasty.
They hiss at you and everything.
But like a flamingo could just like wing its neck around, like. But who knows? Yeah,
no. I'm going to say a swan because swans are vicious. I agree with you. They hiss and they scare me a bit. So, yeah. One. That's mine. Thank you for the contribution. I'm Blue. Appreciate it. But guys, we'll be back soon. Take care until then. Chat to you soon. Bye.
Bye.